Welcome back to the Tailosive Movie Reviews Podcast. I'm joined with my host, Mike. How are you doing, Mr. Mike?
Good. How about you, Nick?
You know, I've had better days. I definitely didn't spend the last, 20 minutes bawling my eyeballs out over a Pixar movie again. So
It's
embarrassing.
understandable, honestly.
Sure.
This is probably the one that pays off after, 15 years? It started in 1995 and 2010,
Man,
right?
This movie, Good Dinosaur, was just such a tearjerker. I just loved Good Dinosaur. So I'm kidding. I hate Good Dinosaur. That's the only Pixar
I guess
film
we
I
haven't
don't
said
like.
what we watched. What did we watch, Nick?
I know, right? Well, if you clicked on this video or listened to this podcast, you saw Toy Story 3, the third iteration into the Toy Story universe. Probably the most satisfying, honestly. Toy Story 4 is fairly satisfying as well, but Toy Story 3 is so satisfying to me. I fear that we're just gonna. I'm gonna want to talk about the end for the entire show, so we better just do our normal thing. Start at the beginning, because the beginning is a good place to start, and then we'll get into the exciting bits that made Nick cry. So overall, Mike, how would you rate this movie out of 8?
So I guess kind of why I hinted at in the first Toy Story, which I don't think got uploaded to the YouTube, but you could probably access on Spotify. We might re-upload it to YouTube. But at least Toy Story is a really dear place in my heart.
It's on the Tailosive Tailosive podcast channel.
Oh, well, there we go. We'll link it down below so you can check it out if you missed it. Anyways, yeah, this is something that I started as a kid with my mom, and definitely watching this it's almost the moment that is like, okay, Mom, I'm grown up. The toys are grown up. It's time to say goodbye. And of course, every single time it hits, or I watch it, it hits me, of course, right in all the great feels. And it's going to be influential on my score, but definitely it's a 7 out of 8. It's not
really,
it's not perfect, but I would say it's a fantastic way to tell a story. There isn't as much interaction as I wanted between Woody and our villain Lotso, but it's a good story. It kind of tells it. It's a closing of an era for all kids from young to old who grew up with it or just started with it. And I enjoyed it just watching it recently, being to get back into the seat of all the toys, kind of realizing it's time. Andy is grown up and we need to move on, and he needs to move on. And yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm gonna make it through the show. I promise, guys.
What about you, Nick? Where does it go on the scoreboard for you between 1 and 8?
I'm also gonna say between 7 and 8, or 7.5 out of 8. It is one of the best out of all of the Pixar movies. Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4 are the ones that I would sit down and watch alone in the middle of the night when I just wanted to feel good. If sometimes you just want to feel like happy about life and just satisfied and enjoy yourself. These are those movies. Toy Story 3, it's very fitting because, as you so eloquently said, we both grew up on these movies, and being able to grow up with the characters and be introduced to them in a light that, I if we had a few more minutes, I was going to pull one of my old stuffed animals out of my closet that I do have like childhood toys that I still have and keep. And every time I watch Toy Story 3, I'm like, oh, my toys must be so depressed. Like, adding the psychology to these toys is probably not the smartest thing, because now I'm worried about the psychological well-being of some inanimate objects. But it matches my development and growth, right? Like, I grew up, I was Andy. I was playing with my toys. I had all of the adventures. I had my thing was really Legos, was where I was really the most creative. So I had all these stories and characters and scenarios, and I had fun doing all of the, just like Andy does. And then I grew up, and I went to college, and I got a cell phone, and I stopped playing with my toys. And it's Toy Story and Pixar have a way of pulling it out of you like no one else. And bravo to them. 7 out of 8 or 7.5 out of 8. This is the one where I wanna put that 7.5 out of 8, but I think there could have just been a few more. 8 out of 8 is like an amazing, like the perfect movie, and I don't know if there'll ever be one of those, but this is really, really, really close.
Definitely. I was talking with my mom recently. I was telling her that I was going through all these movies. I don't know if she's heard any of these, but hi, Mom. She was telling me about where my Toy Story toys went. And they went to a teacher friend's kid who still has them. Still in a box. He's grown up. He's going to college, actually, I think this year. So it's Andy all over again.
I can't do this.
I can't do this without you, Nick. But yeah, so my mom's like, should I request to have him sent back to you? Because he's not going to need him. I'm like, I don't need the toys. I already played with them. It's time for him, or at least his mom, to pass them on to the next generation for whoever needs them. So, a lot like what Toy Story 3 is.
Look at you, Mike, being a real life Andy. I love it.
I played with my Woody. Oh, goodness. I played with my movie accurate Buzz and Woody action figures. A lot. And no euphemisms there. But yeah.
Hold on. While we're on that kick, did you notice when Woody came to the new room, Bonnie's room, and Dolly was like, "Oh, Woody, are you sure you want to stick with that?" I was like, "Oh, finally, someone did it. Thank you."
I honestly did not. Oh goodness, my voice. Sorry, water in the throat. Yeah, I did not notice that, which was pretty funny because I catch on a lot of adult humor these days with a lot of movies that I watch, and for some reason that went over my head as well. Just like a kid, it was probably just me sitting in my children's shoes that I had back in, I guess 2010. But I guess in 2010 I was in high school. But still, just watching Toy Story again. Great movie. Toy Story 3 definitely pays off after 15 years. I don't know how Toy Story 4 is going to top it. I still haven't watched it, but watching Toy Story 3,
I know. I'm really excited for you.
Oh, it's going to be great.
I'm not going to spoil Toy Story 4 for you. I'm sure you've already watched some stuff, so maybe you've already been spoiled. But
no.
If you enjoy Toy Story 3, you're really going to enjoy Toy Story 4.
All I know is that Bo Peep comes back, and that's it.
That's about all you need to know, because it's one of the most beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about Toy Story 3.
Yeah, we're stuck on this.
I did want
to ask you something. Did you recognize a certain character's voice, specifically Ken, who's in this movie? Barbie's Ken. Did you notice who he was voiced by?
I do now. Michael Keaton?
Michael Keaton. I didn't realize it until I looked at the IMDb. And I thought, what? The Batman? And also recently, The Vulture. Michael Keaton voices Ken? Okay.
I mean, this was 2010, so
I guess so.
He wasn't quite as old back then, I guess, but...
And then Whoopi Goldberg's in this as well as Stretch, which is... I forget who Stretch is.
Who's she playing?
Stretch, I think is Stretch the octopus? I'm not too sure. That's the only character that I think.
Is.
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg, Stretch. Interesting. Yeah. Well, I was... if we're going to talk about the actors real quick, I did watch behind-the-scenes content for Toy Story 3 a couple days ago on YouTube. They actually found the original voice actor who portrayed Andy and brought him back to portray Andy again. And it gives me the chills every time I think of it, because they could have just gone and found any random voice actor, but they got Andy back. And it's John Morris who plays Andy back in 1995 and 1999, and he was the voice of Andy. And when the producers were looking to get the cast back together, obviously they got Tom Hanks and Tim Allen back in the crew. But when they were trying to decide whether or not they were going to recast Andy, because they knew it had been a little bit longer, right? Like the actor who portrayed Andy in the beginning was in his mid-30s in 2010. And so they were a little apprehensive, is he going to sound right or whatever? they hunted him down, they found him, and they left a voicemail. And the answering thing, just the producer said, it just sounded perfect. Sounded exactly what you'd think 17-year-old Andy would sound like. So it's just so great to see them bring the entire cast back together again, almost 10 years later, to produce this heart-wrenching movie. I love it. Oh my gosh.
Let's dive into it then. So we start with,
All right.
of course, the beginning of Toy Story 1 as well. The beautiful clouds in the blue sky, which I've seen as well.
Begins
At least
and ends with those clouds.
Oh my goodness.
It's beautiful.
I've seen clouds like that on my drives to LA, and it's just it hits me as well. It's like, ooh, like clear blue skies with a little bit of wispy clouds out there, man. Fantastic. Anyways, yeah.
But then we get dropped straight into one of the best. So I should say, I first watched this movie. This was the first Toy Story movie I watched in a movie theater because I was a little bit too young to see the other two Toy Stories in the late 90s in a movie theater. But I saw this one in a movie theater. I was, 13, 14 at the time. And I was just blown away by the graphics. And this was like 2010, right? So like, we got Ratatouille, I guess, was kind of around that time. We had Cars, I guess. Was that like Cars 2 or something?
I think it was around time,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, it was like, this is kind of the teenage years of animation, right? Like, it had grown up enough to where things looked good. But I think with this beginning scene, the whole animated world that they put the toys in with the train and the bridge just looks so realistic and so playful, right? Like, it's not photorealistic, but it's like playfully realistic.
It's the fantasy that you have in your mind.
Exactly. It's what you would imagine those toys to look like. And yeah. So do you want to go over shot by shot on the
I just want to make the comment that Woody got pursed by Mrs. Potato Head at one point, and it made me laugh out loud.
Because Mr. Potato Head is a married man. So.
Mr. Potato Head is a married man, and he is robbing a train, and Woody has to save the robbed train that has many,
full of
troll
dolls?
There's a whole bunch of
all of the troll dolls.
Oh my god.
The orphans.
And it's heading towards a bridge that has a whole bunch of TNT on it, which also is comically large amount of TNT, just like any other cartoon that you'd see in the era.
It's not even just cartoon levels. It's like your childhood animation or childhood imagination amounts of TNT. Like,
obscene
it
amounts.
isn't. Yeah, it isn't like Roadrunner or Tom and Jerry levels of TNT. It's like what your childhood imagination would imagine a whole bridge full of TNT would look like. I don't know, just a big mountain of like dynamite sticks. It was very fun.
And of course, the animation's a lot better now since it's 2010. So the explosion that this TNT makes shortly after seeing the TNT is fantastic. Beautiful smoke effects, beautiful lighting. It definitely captures the energy that this TNT is producing on top of this bridge, making it crumble so that the occupants, being the troll dolls on this train track or this train, are heading towards it to fall off. And hopefully Woody can save them in time.
And thankfully, Woody's little stuff-filled arms are strong enough to operate all of the levers in the engine of the train and hit the brakes just in time. Or maybe not.
No,
when I was
they
in the
go off
movie
the
theater
edge,
and I was watching this the very first time and just saw the whole train go off the edge, I was just like,
You're like Jesse. No! Oh, yeah, that's right. Jesse's also following on Bullseye as well.
Yeah, true. Somehow, Bullseye, you and I have loved ones who love horses, right? So you know how easy it would be for a horse to be able to run over railroad cross ties, right? Just no problem at all, especially at 45 miles an hour.
Oh, of course not. It'd be totally
zero
fine.
issues.
It's just like a car on pavement, right? The horse is fine. It's not going to get caught in the wood or the metal or whatever. The horse will be fine. No, yeah,
it's all
no.
about, like, timing those steps right.
Again, physics. Well, first of all, this is an imagination, so we can't really apply too much physics. But again, furthermore into the movie, physics is not Toy Story's friend in a lot of scenes. But anyways, train goes off the edge. What happens, Nick? Does Woody die on the train because he tries hitting the brakes and it falls off?
Yes, actually, and the credits roll, and that's why I cry every time.
Oh,
All of those little orphan trolls died.
quick
No, it's
2-minute
very
movie.
very similarly to the Toy Story 2's beginning scene where Buzz just gets vaporized by Zurg. This one also is just like, look, what did I just see happen? Okay, what's gonna happen next? And then obviously Buzz Lightyear saves the day. And all of this is probably the best iteration of Buzz Lightyear right here, where all of his animation is just beautiful and cool looking, but also he can do really cool things like lift an entire train up with his jetpack, and very, very fun, very fun. So
Definitely.
he saves the train. And then they get to go after the evil Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head.
That's right, because they were saved by their
three
kids,
aliens.
the little 3 aliens that picked them up in a Corvette. We have to go quicker through this scene. We're going to be going the same rate of the movie at this point.
I think so.
Yeah, so they catch Potato Head.
This is good.
Potato Head has a force field dog, of course, because kids have to have...
Obviously.
Or when kids are playing with toys, it's like, well, I've got a force field dog. And it's like, well, I've got a T-Rex.
That eats force field dogs.
Apparently,
and this was as we've said, Rex is my spirit toy here, and watching Rex in all of his glory was just so happy to me. See this huge, scary. I think they used the. I could be totally mistaken, but I think they used the Jurassic Park T-Rex scream for Rex, and it was just like.
I'd agree with that. Honestly, it sounded very familiar as well, but I couldn't pinpoint it. But saying Jurassic Park, of course, it makes sense now. But then, of course, Dr. Porkchop comes back as well, or Mr. Doctor, Mr. Evil.
Doctor Evil, Mr. Evil Doctor Porkchops to you.
And then lets loose a nuke of monkeys, the little I forget what they're called, it's barrel monkeys. If you used to have them as a kid, which then takes out Rex, and then
almost over, and they all the monkeys swarm over like a sea over our heroes, and all of the heroes are getting stretched apart, and the big cannon on Mr. Evil Dr. Porkchop's nose is about to blow them all up into smithereens. And then we cut to the real world, where it's actually not this epic adventure. It's something much more special. It's Andy playing with his toys.
Of course.
And Andy then narrates the climactic conclusion to this scene, where Buzz shoots Woody's badge, which then reflects into the...
I think I just dabbed on the screen. I'm sorry, viewers.
I think you dabbed by accident there, but Buzz was covering his eyes and putting his hand out. That's different. This is not the same thing.
Anyways, it's like 2001 Andy or something like that, playing with his toys on a little camcorder, which again hits me in the feels as well, because my mom has so much footage of me as a kid playing with toys or playing around, and it's that old camcorder thing that you'd put into a VHS or something like that, and it's like, wow. And then of course we flash forward to 2010, because this was produced in 2010, and Andy is now old, and the toys are really itching to play with Andy, and trying everything that they can to play with Andy, even as far enough to steal his cell phone, calling it inside the toy chest, hoping that he would open the toy chest, find his cell phone, but then want to play with his toys as well. And
what Rex says after this whole interaction, after Andy finds his phone and picks up Rex and takes Rex the phone out of Rex's hands, after Andy leaves, Rex said, "He held me. I can't believe he held me." And I was just like, oh, those poor toys, they're so sad right now. What's going on?
It's been like 10 years of no playing at this point or something like that, and it's
so
looking
sad.
a little bit grim, and Woody's basically calling it at this point. He asks for a staff meeting, and Potato Head's like, this is it. It's just a few of us now. It's not too many of them. And so it's like, okay, well, I guess we're going to the attic. Yeah, no Etch, no Bo Peep. Everyone's gone. And they're kind of coming to the realization that time's over, and they just have to go up into the attic and hang out with the Christmas toys, which apparently are not fun for some reason. I guess they're not as jolly as everyone thinks they are.
Yeah, I loved that. I love those little throwaway lines, and as an adult or rewatching it, you can kind of pick up on it. It's like, oh yeah, we can hang out with those guys from the Christmas decorations. Oh, yay! It's like, oh boy, what happened there? If Disney ever needs a spin-off movie for Toy Story, they can just, fit that in there somewhere.
Another thing that I did want to kind
Oh, my.
of compare between me and Andy is that we have the same guitar. In that scene where Woody's kind of calling it, saying, I guess we're going up into the attic, I look in the background, there's a red Fender guitar. I'm like, I got the same one, but in blue. And I look at the amp, I'm like, I got the same amp. I'm like, are they filming me or something? I guess it's just a lot of people who grew up at that time that probably just fell into the same bracket as Andy, where they had the opportunity to get an electric guitar, get an amp, and kind of jammed on it a bit. I don't play with it too much anymore. I'm too busy with school. But again, it was
See, now your guitar is depressed. See what Toy Story did to us? Now we're just, this is so
is
bad.
the guitar a toy? Did we ever see guitar?
I mean, if they're able to anthropomorphize anthropomorph? Yeah.
Anthropomorphize.
Yeah, okay.
Anthropomorphize?
Well, yeah. Anthropomorph. Man, I was going to use big vocabulary words, but I can't even say it, so I shouldn't.
Nick can't say
if
big
they're
word. It's
gonna
okay.
put human characteristics into inanimate objects, then if they can do that with toys, they should be able to do that with guitars. That's my vote.
Yeah, and then another heart-wrenching or playing basically on the strings of our heart. Buzz says to Woody, I guess we're going on a high note together for infinity and beyond, which is just like, end of an era again. But at least they're together.
There's one scene where Andy and Andy's mom are talking, and we're in the toy box looking out at them, maybe the box of toys, not the toy box, but Mom walks into Andy's room and kind of like realizes that like it's all happening and her little boy has grown up.
Oh yeah, what's Andy doing right now? We didn't really explain what he's doing.
He was going through his toys.
No. Why are things disappearing from his room?
Oh, yeah, because Andy's going to college.
No!
Minor detail there. Don't go to college. College is the worst.
Oh, yeah, so everything's kind of stripped down, and Andy's mom is looking around. And definitely kind of, I mean, I didn't get to experience the same thing as Andy in that regard. Me and my mom kind of traveled to the same location when I went to college.
Yeah.
But it was still kind of like, this is it. Andy is moving on. He's going, and Andy's mom is saying goodbye, which you'd never think in Toy Story, right? That mom is saying goodbye to her son. But
right, it's so sad. And then he hugs her, and I'm just like sitting there. I'm like, we're not even 20 minutes in the movie, and my eyes are misting. Is someone cutting onions? My eyes are misting. What's going on?
Pretty sure my wife was cutting onions at that point as well, because.
Yeah, I know. It's just
tough.
like my eyes are sweating. Maybe I'm like exercising them too much. I'm just watching this movie so intently that like they're starting.
You're blinking
to
too much. Stop blinking.
I know. Okay. So then Andy's mom basically says, "Hey, you either need to throw away your junk, put it in the attic, or donate it. Your choice, or take it to college with you. Not donate it." And so Andy starts rummaging through his stuff. And then pulls out a trash bag, takes all of his toys, and shoves them into the trash bag. Ooh. Just like we all thought he was going to in Toy Story 2 when he said, bye, Woody. And it's just that whole like, oh, what are you doing? And he hesitates for a minute with Buzz and Woody, which I think is really cool because it's kind of going back to that time where they were going to Pizza Planet. And Andy had to make the decision on whether to take Buzz or Woody. And then they get in a fight, and he couldn't take either of them. Anyway, or did he take Woody? Now I can't remember. Jeez.
No, he
anyway,
wanted to take Buzz, but then I think
he wanted to take Buzz, but I think he ended up taking Woody, right? Or did both of them get in a tussle and he did not take any?
I think Buzz got. Okay. Oh, was that it? Did Buzz get knocked out of the?
Buzz was out the window, so it was either he brought Woody or he didn't bring any toys. So. Anyway, all that to say,
Anyways.
there was a scene in Toy Story 1 where Andy was having to decide between Woody and Buzz. And there was that exact same shot. It was over the shoulder, him looking at Andy and Woody and Buzz. Andy was looking at Woody and Buzz. And who does he choose? Who does he choose? And he chooses Woody again. And my heart just melted because I have a very special little toy that I still have. And it's not in storage. It's, just slightly easily accessible. Like, it's my toy. And I know exactly that moment. I had that exact same moment when I was going through all my junk before, I moved, and I was like, okay, what am I taking? What am I putting into storage? What am I getting rid of? And I had that moment where I was looking at some childhood toys, and I made that decision. I'm just sitting there like,
I don't know if you caught on the music at that moment as well. It was the same music for, I believe, when Buzz was trying to see if he could fly at Sid's house, if I remember right. It was those da-na-na, da-na-na, da-na-na. And then Buzz goes in the trash bag.
I know.
His face is like, and then,
what? Yeah, you get a little shot of his face right before the bag closes. But then it all gets redeemed where Andy's actually just trying to put them in the attic. And so we're like, okay, phew. And then dumb Molly had to go and ask for help. So Mom, being as snoopy as she does, just takes the box of the bag full of toys and puts them on the curb. Why?
And the toys can't rip it open because it's triple ply, high density pythylene. Oh goodness, I forget what the last thing. I'm an engineer.
Polyethylene.
Polyethylene. That's what it is. I should know this. I'm a mechanical engineer. But yeah, they can't rip it because they're just toys. Okay, Nick. All right.
Well, I know exactly what dinitrogen tetroxide and monomethylhydrazine are. Do you?
Or rockets.
No, it's propellant for rockets, Mike.
Okay.
Come on.
Well, did you notice who was on the trash truck who was about to pick up the toys on the curbside?
Some guy with a radio.
Some guy with a radio? That's, if you notice on his shirt, he's got a skull on his shirt. And if you remember...
Was it Sid?
It was
Sid.
No
way!
It's Sid.
No way!
This is something that a lot of fans caught on that I didn't actually catch on until... It was a little bit spoiled to me because, unlike you got to see it in theaters. My mom did not want to see it in theaters, and I didn't want to see the movie without my mom. Only because she didn't want to be caught bawling in the theaters, and so we watched it at home. But it took a while for us to watch it at home. So, anyways, long story short, it was spoiled to me before I watched the movie that Sid is in the movie. I'm like, Sid comes back in Toy Story 3? Isn't he really old at this point? And it's like, yeah, he's really old now. He's a trash guy. He takes care of the trash for the neighborhood, which I find.
Oh my gosh, he did. There's an entire wiki fandom article on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
Which I find entertaining because Sid used to
live. Oh my gosh, he totally is. Oh my god!
He used to live right next to Andy, and now he takes the trash out for Andy and his family. Which I don't know, just justice, I guess, in a way. Except the toys don't generate trash, so they don't get to torture Sid in that way. Anyways, so yeah, Sid, the garbage truck guy, comes to try to pick him up, and it looks like the toys are getting crushed in the back of the garbage truck, but it turns out
the point worked.
The what? Yeah, I guess they got out.
Because I think Rex says, "What's the point?" And Buzz says, "Point. You're right." And then they use poor Rex again. We had last time when everyone was using Rex's head to bust through.
Don't use my
grates.
head.
I know how to use my head. Now they're using his tail. Anyway, it worked evidently. They escaped the sudden trash truck of doom. But that was just foreshadowing for even more trash-related activities that will be happening later in the movie.
Oh my goodness. So anyways, Andy finds that the trash bag is gone. He doesn't know or no, wait, that's way later. Goodness, I'm going ahead. Oh, that's what it was. So the toys get to Andy's mom's car because they hear that she's going to...
Do we know Andy's mom's name?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
I don't think so, but they get into Andy's mom's van basically saying, well, this is going to the donation place, and Andy doesn't want us anymore, so we're leaving because we don't want to be in the attic. And Woody's kind of trying to convince him, like, hey, it's okay. You were trying to be put in the attic, but Andy's mom put you on the curb, and they don't believe him. And so they all end up going to the donation center because Andy's mom closes the hatch on the van and starts up the car on her A113 license plate car.
I saw that. A113 always makes it in there a couple times.
Yeah, I guess it's a whole entire spotting game at this point from now on for, I guess, us, even though that we kind of have the cheat sheet for Pixar movies on where is the A113 number.
I'm sure there's a website. Let me see.
Probably. So I guess while you're saying that, so Andy, goodness, Woody's
there
arguing with
really is an entire list. Wow.
I'm sure there is.
Wow. Go ahead.
They basically get to the donation center, which turns out to be a place called Sunnyside, which is pretty cool. And apparently Andy's mom. Yeah,
and
so
Rex
I guess
says, oh, look, there's even a rainbow.
Yeah, and it's not really the best rainbow, honestly, because they get introduced to all the toys once they get put into one of the classrooms, or I guess it's a daycare, so one of the daycare rooms for a certain section of kids. And they get to meet all the toys. There's a whole bunch of dinosaur toys, which I guess I kind of realized after watching that scene, like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of dinosaur toys at the daycare that I was at, so this is pretty accurate, and Rex at least has found his people.
Yeah.
Another thing that I did notice is that the octopus...
Bonnie's mom.
Yeah, I guess we meet Bonnie's mom as well. What I did want to mention is that they meet an octopus, which we mentioned at the beginning is voiced by Whoopi Goldberg. And that thing is made out of jelly or whatever it is. Like some, if you remember the little hands that are made out of some gel that you can paste against walls, and your parents would be like, why are you pasting against the wall? You're ruining the wall. That thing would be full of hair, I'm pretty sure. Like hair and dirt and grossness. Like that thing would not survive in daycare.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. Yeah. But yeah, Bonnie's mom. So you mentioned her.
Yeah, so I think this is a really good place for them to kind of foreshadow that, Bonnie is going to play a pretty big role here. Just kind of weaving Bonnie's mom and then Bonnie into this whole story as well. Obviously, the greater picture, and if you haven't seen this movie, we should have said spoiler alert a long time ago, so I'm sorry we didn't. But the whole point of this movie is passing the toys off to the next generation. And so being able to see Bonnie with her mom this early kind of allows us to begin the transition before the third act. We get to know this little girl named Bonnie who's real shy and likes playing with toys and is real expressive by herself, but is quiet around others. So that's kind of fun to put those puzzle pieces together. But yeah, they get into the butterfly room, and it is just roses and butterflies over there. Like I love lighting. I'm going to say it about 80,000 other times. I love lighting in movies, and the way that they lit the butterfly and the caterpillar rooms, it tells the story without needing any dialogue. The butterfly room, it's all rosy, it's golden hour, beaming through the windows. Everything's soft and lovely,
bright
and
and
just
blue.
has this beautiful yellow hue. And yeah, it's just vibrant colors. And the caterpillar room is fluorescent lighting with screaming kids and just real harsh white lighting and not very saturated colors, and it's just very, very much different rooms. But we should probably talk about Lotso and all that first. So
that man should be filled with snot as well. I know this is a daycare where they probably clean things, but Lotso should not be that clean. He should not smell like strawberries like everyone says he smells like.
I was gonna say, even the garbage guy says he smells like strawberries. So I don't know. Wouldn't be putting my nose on that thing.
Oh, I grossed out at that point. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Totally. Oh my gosh.
Oh goodness. So yeah, Lotso comes
so
up.
everyone is just super friendly to the new toys, and and Woody the entire time is telling the group, "Oh, toys! It's going to be the worst thing ever. Daycare is where toys go to die. You know, it's just a terrible place. So it's going to be the worst." And everyone's like, "Oh wow, look, this is amazing! This is amazing! This is amazing!" And Woody's just like, "Okay, I guess this is pretty good, but we're still Andy's toys." And so I just love the faithfulness that Woody has towards Andy. And even when it is looking like it's a good deal, Woody is still Andy's toy and still faithful to Andy. And anyway, then we get to see a little bit more of Sunnyside.
Mm-hmm. And we get to see... Oh, that's right. We didn't also highlight that Molly, Andy's sister, also had a toy that went to the donation pile, being the one and only Barbie. Probably not the same that we saw from Toy Story 2 because there's so many Barbies. But there was a Barbie that Molly had, and she got donated, which was devastating for her. She threw me away. And my wife totally laughed at that point. We're giggling so much at the fact that it's just like, yep, that sounds like Barbie. Just like very strong, but also very sensitive at points. And she gets to meet her... I would say her accessory, honestly. He's not really his own product. He's an accessory to Barbie, being the one and only Ken that we mentioned at the beginning, voiced by Michael Keaton. Which, again, I can't put the face to the toy. Like, totally different, like, behaviors and, like, totally separated. But Michael Keaton does a great job with Ken throughout this whole entire movie, where Ken is just like this prima donna, yet trying to be strong, yet trying to be in charge, like a figure. And he's just like given the hots for Barbie when he first sees her.
And they just don't. Another piece of cinematography that I really love how Pixar isn't animating the frame, they're animating the three-dimensional scene and moving cameras in that space, because they did I forget what kind of an effect it's called, but it's some famous director that is slipping my mind, but it's when you zoom in on a camera lens and you pull out with a dolly at the same time. So you get this effect where the subject is staying the same size, but the background is either growing or shrinking, and that can add a lot of dimension to a scene, allowing you to show visually that the characters either focusing in on one thing by making the background get really, really small, or looking at a large expanse by making the background feel really, really big. And they did this with both Ken and Barbie. They did a dolly zoom.
Weaver, I can see you coming in the night. Very terrible. I never grew up to be a singer, but thank you for the applause.
I think you're pretty good. So,
Thank you.
You know.
Thank you. Nice ass cop, by the way. Adult humor
Something
again.
like that.
Adult humor is plagued this whole entire movie because it knows that a lot of its original viewers are now grown up.
Yes.
Either in college or now have kids. Up. And man. But yeah. I guess moving on, Barbie gets out of the caterpillar room in time.
We need to talk about Lotso real quick though. Like I think Lotso. Yeah. We kind of the nice side of Lotso. Lotso is
there?
Let's just say my 13, 14-year-old self wasn't Lotso wasn't the one I identified as being the immediate villain of the movie, because he's a slow, drawn out Georgian, like I don't know, just not his Georgian accent. Like it's all his words sound like molasses coming right off of his tongue. And he's just so polite and friendly, and he just wants everyone to have a wonderful time here at Sunnyside.
Ned Beatty does a great job with that voice.
He sure does. Awesome job, buddy. That was a beautiful voice. Yeah, Ned is a very talented voice actor. Being able to make me love the villain for the first few minutes of the movie. I'm like, oh, this guy's friendly. Oh, look at that.
Didn't fool me.
As soon as I saw Baby, I was like, oh, something's up.
Baby came out of the bathroom.
Baby.
I mean, I know that the bathroom connects the butterfly room to the caterpillar room, but baby came from the bathroom, which I just never really understood. Even as an adult, I guess I understand that the bathroom connects the two rooms, but it's like, why the bathroom?
Also, why is baby just in the bathroom?
Why is baby peering from? I guess baby's a little bit shy, but still, it's just like we get a sense for baby being
has
actually
like
pretty
the
powerful.
eye problem, and you're just like, rink, rink. I know, right? The baby's the only one who can open doors. Like, what's going on here?
Somehow,
it's kind of a scarily large baby. So the crew gets dropped off in the caterpillar room, and Ken invites Barbie to come live with him in Ken's dream home, and
which is actually Barbie's dream home.
It's very touching. Exactly. True. He's like, I have an entire room just for trying on clothes. And I'm like,
but no one to share it with.
I have everything except someone to share it with.
Yeah, basically. You are playing the strings, Ken.
Totally. Ken is such a schmoozer.
Yeah. And then Woody's just like, we need to get out of here. The team's like, no, we're staying. And Woody's like, okay, well, I'm leaving because I don't want to be here.
And he doesn't even shake Buzz's hand, which just kind of hits me every time. Like, whew. Can you imagine, like, your best friend of, like, almost 20 years, and, like, you're so mad at him that you're going to leave him and not, like, give him the dignity to shake his hand. You just straighten your hat and walk off. It's like, oh. Thankfully, Bullseye breaks the tension a little bit. And Bullseye, like, I'm sorry. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, he's a horse. No, he's a dog. They literally have dog sound effects there.
And then Woody's just like, gatekeeping him, basically, just like, no, you're not coming with me. You'd be all alone in the attic, which I get, but it's like, okay, whatever. the loyal horse dog wants to be with you, and you're like, nah. Which would have been pretty interesting with the next scene that we get with Woody, with Bullseye trying to join him on this escapade to escape Sunnyside, of going through a hallway, through a bathroom, onto the roof, and then finding a kite.
Yep. Flying out, making it, and then the wind catches him and flies him right back up.
Again, physics are not on Toy Story side at this point. Woody somehow gets out, which it's like, okay, yeah, I guess he gets out because he just has enough glide slope to make the wall, and then he gets on the ground, and all of a sudden, big gust of wind takes him all the way up, and then he lands in a tree, loses his hat at Sunnyside, and what happens when he gets...
I know. As soon as he lost the hat, he gets caught in the tree, and Bonnie finds him and decides that she wants to keep him, which is kind of touching.
There's a snake in my boot.
There's a snake in my boot. Yeah, but as soon as we notice that he lost his hat, you know he's coming back. Like, there's no question that he's coming back because Woody will not be without his hat. So that was kind of cool that they put that in there, right? I have a hat. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, we need to talk about Bonnie's room.
Oh my goodness.
Bonnie's room characters are like amazing. My favorite. I love Bonnie's toys. Bonnie's toys are phenomenal. The Shakespeare guy, what's his name? Porky,
Mr. Pricklepants.
Mr. Pricklepants just takes everything. So I must be in Keddick. And you got Trixie. I love Trixie. Trixie is so much fun. Who voices Trixie?
I love Trixie. Do I have that in front of me? I do. It's Kristen Schaal, Schal, Schal.
I don't know her.
I don't know her either, but she does a great job putting in so much joy and emotion to this Triceratops that we meet.
Oh, yeah.
And she's very much... she sounds so very innocent, but then we find that she talks with some dinosaur down the street, and she plays all these other video games, and she's not as, like, naive as we think. She's very much set in, like, her world, almost like Rex, where Rex is like, yeah, I do whatever. I play video games, I have fun, I wreck things, it's okay. And Trixie's is very much the same.
Yeah, Trixie. I just love how bubbly Trixie is. Like, she's just exuding happiness. She's like, oh, you're going to love it here. Oh, and then the unicorn. I love that the unicorn's a guy. It's just like, yeah, I'm a guy. Hi, yeah. It's just like, oh, that's perfect.
We do a lot of improv here.
Subverts all of the expectations. Right? I know, we do a lot of improv here. Just relax and you'll get a hang of it. Wow, you're really good. It's like, yeah, he's literally Woody. but just you could tell that Woody wanted to be there because he got played with, and that was something that he wasn't getting played. He said, I think even it's been years since I've had that much fun, and he's still faithful to Andy. It's just
so loyal. Just like, I need to get back to my boy. And I think, was it Dolly's like, yeah, I get it. I guess so. And then we meet.
And I love how none of those toys were like, no, you have to stay with Bonnie. She's yours now, or you're hers now. Like, they're all very supportive. And that's really cool when the toy community, the toy community can be so accepting and loving of a new person, but then also accept and love the fact that they need to go back to where they belong. And so, yeah, I love Bonnie's toys. I think
I do have to ask you,
are
though,
a great
so this
addition.
is something that I had a little discussion with my wife. Is Dolly an actual toy? Like, is she a toy that you buy at the store? Or is she something that Bonnie created? Because I know that, like, the premise of Toy Story 4 is, like, Forky is not a toy. He's obviously, like, a utensil that has or the little twine Twizzler things on him. But, like, Bonnie, or not Bonnie, Dolly looks a lot like a homemade toy. But my wife kind of pointed out that she's not 2D necessarily. She's not kind of like too arts and craftsy. She looks like maybe something you buy at like a Dollar Tree or something. But I just wanted to get your perspective on whether Dolly was actually a toy. I mean, of course, she's obviously a toy because she's got the anthropomorphized, like she's alive in this universe. But did that ever come out to you, I guess, if she might not actually be kind of like Woody and Buzz? Is she more like Forky, I guess?
I definitely got the feeling that she's not manufactured. I was assuming she was more like Grandma, the Dolly that Grandma made her, or something like that, where it's handmade, but it's not like Bonnie made. So I don't know, because she is pretty patchwork. She has like the buttons, and I love Dolly's. Dolly's a great character too. Dolly's so polite and breaks out of character. Obviously, evil Dolly. Ooh, it's gonna get in the spaceship.
Witch.
The witch. Was she a witch? Yeah. And then she just breaks that character. She's like, oh yes, hello, I'm Dolly. Oh, I'm Woody. Oh, you sure? Are you sure you want to stick with Woody? This is a new room. You can change that. This is coming from the girl named Dolly.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, I think the scenes at Bonnie's house are really good, and my wife and I watched a lot of both the after credit scenes and then a lot of the little shorts that they have that take place in Bonnie's room. I guess spoilers already again. They end up at Bonnie's. But yeah, like all the scenes with Trixie and Dolly and I'm blanking on the other ones. But yeah, just like really great characters. They're not like shoot-in characters that you're just
pants.
Like prickle plants. Yeah, they're not just like these side characters that you're like, okay, whatever. Kind of like
yeah, they have as much dimension as Rex or Ham do.
Yeah, like, they're not like the robot.
Rex and Ham are not like main characters, but they're not. Yeah, they're not like the robot. Yeah,
the robot's kind of just like I am a robot.
They're not one note. They're like 2.5 note characters, where they're not a full 3 note character, but they're pretty close.
They're getting there.
Bravo, Pixar. And we get to that pays off because in Toy Story 4 they're very much main characters.
That makes me feel good about the next movie then. Anyways, so we come back to Sunnyside. Turns out
so we were just having so much fun talking about the wonderful things that were going on. Meanwhile, the other characters are literally in toy hell.
Jesse's getting her ponytail dipped in paint, and they're being thrown everywhere.
No. We got to get up to the apprehension of this, okay? Before we get to the actual mayhem, all of the toys are like, oh, we're gonna get played with. Rex is like, oh, they're gonna play with me. I cannot. Can we make time go faster? And then Buzz, as they're getting ready, they're like all kind of starting to freeze. Buzz starts to realize all the other toys are like scampering into the corner, hiding under things, and he's like, oh no, what is about to happen?
Open the floodgates.
The doors open. And as soon as the doors open, the lighting changes from like a sunny lit area to like all fluorescent lighting, and it's just all like mayhem, and every little kid's like
as kids are
running around, sticking like doing everything wrong, right? Like parts of Mr. Potato Head were up some kid's nose, and like Jesse was getting used as a paintbrush, and
Rex's
Rex
tail
lost
falls
his
off.
tail.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, just literally hell for toys. And that's literally the worst thing that they could ever imagine happening.
Mrs. Potato Head ends up with a mustache mohawk, which made me laugh again. A lot of adult humor as well, with like Ham trying to take stuff out of his coin cork orifice.
Yep.
Because he had glue and glitter, just like orifice, glue and glitter just slammed on his coin slot or ever, and jeez, such a terrible time for those toys.
Yeah, and that's when they realize. Sorry,
I'm sorry that I'm boring you, Nick.
That's when. No, you're not. It's been a long day, and I need to breathe more because whenever you yawn, you're actually just deprived of oxygen. So I need to breathe deeper.
Again, sorry, one more other thing that I wanted to touch on. Something that we didn't touch on is that Buster, when they were in Andy's room, Buster makes a brief cameo in the movie, the dog from Toy Story 2, and he lands on Woody, and Woody is almost like suffocating. And then again, when Jesse's in the garbage bag, she says that she's suffocating, can't breathe. But like they're toys. Yeah,
that's a good point.
Again, physics.
Physics doesn't work. / biology. But at least Buzz Lightyear could put his like the last shot before the kids storm the room is Buzz's thingy going on. It's just like, yep, he figured it out about a half a second too late. Like he couldn't run for cover. It's like nope. And then just the little kid like it's just like oh my goodness. So
anyway, so the toys try to escape the caterpillar room. They can't. They find that there's too many locks on the doors and windows, and so then Buzz finds a way to get out.
I love how Ham's like he looks at the lock on the window and he's like, whatever name brand it is.
It's a Fastener Schnecker 380.
Fastener Schnecker 380. It's the best child-proof lock on the market. It's just like, yep, that's what Ham would say. Good job.
He just knows. He reads too much. Yep. But I mean, that's not a bad thing, honestly. Anyways, Buzz somehow gets out of the caterpillar room, makes his way over to some vending machine that's making noise. Or no, he follows the bug and robot, I believe, and sees Barbie saying goodbye to Ken. And they go up into this vending machine, which you're like, why are they in a vending machine? And then you find that they're gambling at the top of this vending machine with a little animal noise maker, trying to bet on what noise animal is gonna happen, which I thought was pretty funny as well, because of course kids, when they hear about casinos, they probably think, oh, just spinning things and big lights and people throwing money around everywhere, which is exactly
that's what happens in the casino. Every casino I've been in, you just have a little wind-up farm animal, and everyone's just huddled around there betting on which duck
what
or
casinos have you been to?
None. The one in Toy Story 3. Didn't you see that movie?
Anyways,
What's Holy Casino is above the vending machine. Oh, that's where all the sleazy places are.
We gotta keep going. We gotta keep going. Buzz follows them in there.
Yeah, dude, we're like at an hour. We're at like 45 minutes.
We might have to make this 2 episodes.
Only 30 minutes. We're already at 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be long. This episode is gonna be longer than the movie because the movie is only an hour and a half.
Anyways, Buzz gets caught by Big Baby.
We're barely into Act 2.
I got no clue how Big Baby climbed up the vending machine and into the top part to capture Buzz and throw him onto the table, but Buzz gets captured, gets reset, and turns out, we don't have Buzz anymore. We've got Star Command Buzz.
Well, hold on. Before, it's very important we need to talk about the actual plot, the conspiracy going on at Sunnyside.
Oh, that's right. We didn't really.
It's all run by Lotso, and we get the big reveal that Lotso is the villain,
the kingpin.
And for a moment there was another glimmer of hope. Lotso walked into the room and was like, Why is this toy all tied up? Like, get him undone. Okay, well, I'm so sorry. It's just a big misunderstanding. And you're just like, oh, good, Lotso's going to fix this all. Wait a minute. Something sinister is afoot. And so Lotso tries to recruit Buzz to be one of his body men. What are those
Lackeys.
called? When the gangsters have lackeys? Yeah. Yeah. And Buzz says, no way. Not if you're, not if my we're leaving. Like, this is not good. And he's like, no, you can't leave. So, yeah. Buzz then gets reset, and that is a sad moment.
Which begs the question, though, because they asked the bookworm, who is a weird bookworm that travels through the Sunnyside area. He finds a Buzz Lightyear manual, of course, filed under Lightyear. Does this mean that there was a previous Buzz Lightyear at Sunnyside that either got stolen or taken away or something? Like, how'd they get this manual?
Surprised. And also, it's kind of disturbing that they keep records of all the manuals for all these toys on hand in an alphabetized filing cabinet. Like, what daycare center is going to have a manual for each toy they get donated?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
No.
But anyway, it works for the plot. It works. So we had Buzz get reset, and now Buzz is one of the gangsters running the Sunnyside.
Silence, minions of Zurg.
Silence, yes. So we now have the jail scene, right, where the caterpillar room is turned into a jail at night, where all of the toys are stuck in the little baskets.
Spare me your lies, temptress. Just all these amazing lines from Star Command Buzz Lightyear, just like,
yes,
quiet, scum. Temptress.
He had a line for a ham too, something pork something. Anyway, yeah.
Spends the night in the box. If you breathe, spends the night in the box.
Spends the night in the box. We get it. So poor Mr. Potato Head gets to spend the night in the box, right? And poor guy had to spend the night with what are not Lincoln Logs.
Also, I didn't notice this in the. My wife and I watch movies with subtitles on just because we like seeing what characters say as well. Because we like seeing kind of the script as well, or an insight on some of the script and the wording. And they don't spell Lincoln Logs like I thought. They spelled it Lincoln as if it's Abraham Lincoln, and not like Link in Logs with the dashes in between. I'm like, I didn't Google it on whether like Lincoln Logs are spelled one way or another, but I'm like, this is really strange.
Just Lincoln Logs, according to Wikipedia, Lincoln Logs is spelled like the president.
Wow, my childhood is a lie.
I know, me too. I wonder if it's like hyphenated or something on the box.
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh yeah. Well, so it looks like one of the name brands is LINK uppercase I N apostrophe logs.
Like you're linking the logs, yeah.
Lincoln Logs.
Jeez.
But it looks like the wiki article is under Lincoln, LINC.
Got an existential crisis over this.
I know. What's going on here?
It's my childhood.
Things you learn from watching the subtitles.
Another thing, though, that I noticed is that in the Caterpillar Room, they also have Candyland and Twister again, which they show in Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 1, which I'm very curious in watching Toy Story 4 if Candyland and Twister appear again, because they've appeared in all three movies now.
I would imagine it would. There's a couple scenes I could think they could slide those in.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to keep your eyes peeled.
Definitely. But then we get a little bit of backstory on Lotso, right?
Yeah, and that's back at Bonnie's house, though. So we have, after a full fun day of play, where Woody probably has the best day he's had in 10 or 8 years or so, he decides it's time to leave. And he enlists the help of the Bonnie's Room toys, and they help him get on the internet. We see Trixie is talking to a very smashingly good-looking dinosaur from across the street. And and we figure out that Bonnie lives like just a half a block away from Andy's house, so quite convenient there. And yeah, where were we going there? Oh, then we get the backstory on Lotso.
We get the backstory because apparently one of the toys that came to Sunnyside, also who got rescued from Sunnyside by Bonnie or her mom as well, came from the same home as Lotso and Big Baby, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that...
Was his name Happy?
I think his name is Joker, if I'm correct.
Joker? I think it was Happy. Let's see.
I think it's Happy. You know what? Okay, so here's what I have in my notes, So I called him Joker because he's like a clown, right? And he was kind of...
Yeah.
It was kind of the same foresight that, like, in Batman, I believe I think a line that Heath Ledger says is, like, we're all just one bad day away from something, or bad day away from, like, chaos, or something else like that, which is kind of like the description of Lotso, right? He's all happy, loves his kid, I think Emily or something like that, and gets left at a tree after a play date.
Chuckles.
Chuckles, that's his name. Chuckles. That's right. I've got it right here, right in front of me. Chuckles has seen some things because the clown boy is just sitting on the oh goodness, on like the kitchen, above the kitchen sink, just staring out at the rain like some depressed clown. Poor Chuckles. But yeah, they got abandoned by Emily, or I think her name's Emily, and they somehow make their way back to the house and find that Lotso
Dolly?
is... Dolly?
Daisy. It was Daisy.
I'm thinking about
Daisy.
Emily for
Daisy.
Jesse.
Emily is Jesse, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so they find that Daisy replaced Lotso with another Lotso, which then just creeps me out a little bit more because there's multiple Lotsos. I don't know how nice the other Lotso is, but I don't really like the Lotso that we have right now because he kind of just lies to Big Baby, and he's just like, nope, she abandoned you. We're leaving.
He's literally the top of the cult. He's the cult leader.
He's the kingpin.
Sunnyside. Yuck.
Yeah.
So I think that backstory was pretty good, though, because it puts all of the characters into perspective. We see what the motivations are. I really hate when a movie just has a two-dimensional villain where it's just like, he's bad because his name is Zurg and he will destroy Buzz Lightyear, therefore bad guy.
He's Al. He's going to sell them off for money. I guess
exactly.
It has some dimension, but still.
Yeah,
like,
it's two-dimensional, but like they gave Lotso a full three-dimensional character where not only do we have the heartbreak, like all of these toys, Jesse experienced it, Woody has experienced it. Get it all mixed up. Like a lot of toys in the Toy Story universe have experienced this kind of loss, but we've always seen the toys take it as a positive or like grow from it and, learn to move on. But Lotso did not move on. That guy still lives in the past and is still thinking about how he can make everyone else's life miserable just because Daisy made his life miserable by forgetting him. And come on, of course that little girl was so distraught, her parents went and got her another one. Like, Daisy loved Lotso so much that her parents got her a replacement one because she loved him so much. So, anyway, yeah, I appreciated the backstory there.
Definitely.
So I think we're kind of in third act territory, are we not?
I do still have a lot of notes, yeah, but there's a lot that goes on between now and then.
Uh-oh.
A little bit behind the scenes right here. You can definitely tell that we didn't really plan out the timeline for how long we were going to talk about Toy Story 3.
No, that's fine. Oh, yeah, we still have Spanish Bus. Oh, my goodness, you're right.
We still have Spanish Bus. We have so much.
Oh, my gosh. Totally.
We still have Monkey
Dude, totally.
as
the whole
well.
Escape. Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. All right, take it away.
Yeah, so anyways, flashback to Quiet Musical Hog because Ham is playing the harmonica in the jail cell, and Buzz doesn't like that. Potato Head comes back, and that's the whole Lincoln Log scene that you mentioned as well.
Mm-hmm.
But was it Woody makes it back to the toys, and he's getting poked by one of the old toys of the Caterpillar room, which is I really appreciated this with they kind of show off later with this phone character. It's a little phone on wheels that has a very old earpiece.
Yeah. What are those things called?
It is a rotary dial phone basically, and it has wheels or whatever. But he's made out of wood. He's not made out of plastic or anything like that. He's made out of wood for his base frame and stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool as well. Kind of like showing, he's been here for a while. And he's hidden himself away so much that he's not really being played with too much because, he's pretty old at this point.
He was a Fisher-Price chatter telephone.
Chatter telephone. Yeah. But yeah, he's basically telling Woody, yeah, you and your friends are gonna get out of here. You're foolish to come back. And Woody's like, nah, I gotta get my friends to get out of here. He's like, okay, well, here's the lowdown on how to get out. And Woody then comes up with a plan.
Very convenient. Yeah. The plan all revolves around this monkey. That monkey still gives me the creeps. That thing is evil. If you look up, just everyone, as you're listening to this or watching this show, I want you to take a second, Google evil monkey. You will get a picture of this guy. This
No.
monkey
Evil
ever.
Monkey Toy Story 3. That might be a little bit
okay, fine.
better.
We
live in 2021 where if you look up Evil Monkey, you might get King Kong or something like that because we've got King Kong versus Godzilla coming up soon. And everyone is going monkey.
Anyway. Yeah. But so we have the evil monkey with the
scary thing.
Tambourines or whatever. Scary thing. But he's like always watching. He's the big brother. He has all of the security cameras. That's his job. He sits and watches the security cameras all night long. And so their primary objective is to obviously neutralize the monkey, and that is Woody's job. So Woody, I guess they... Yeah, what happens first? It's very
specific timing,
they have a whole
timing,
plan
where they have to neutralize the monkey. They have to make sure that Lotso and the crew aren't awake. Potato Head has to somehow get outside, and along with that, unlock.
Don't you mean Mr. Tortilla Head?
So that's the big reveal is that because Mr. Potato Head again gets locked in the sand pit outside, he pokes a hole out of the wood, puts all his appendages out except for his body because his body's too big to get out of the hole, and his appendages find a lunchbox somehow gets outside. I forget how it gets outside. And there's a tortilla in there. Or, no, I guess the tortilla gets thrown outside after they apprehend
thrown out the window. Yeah.
Buzz somehow.
Yeah.
And then we get Tortilla Head, which both creepy yet hilarious at the same time. I think watching it back in 2000,
floppy.
I think, around 2010 or 2011, I was like, this is funny. But then, like, watching it in 2021, I'm like, this is weird. What am I looking at? And then it gets eaten by pigeons at some point. I'm like, this is morbid. Oh. Yeah.
Yep. So
they have this whole plan of getting out. They have to go through the trash chute that inevitably leads to a dumpster, but they'll get to that point when they get there of trying to escape. And doing all that without getting caught by all the patrolling toys outside. And making sure that the monkey, again, is apprehended. And we get a very wonderful scene of Slinky and Woody apprehending the monkey, which is, again, the most terrifying thing ever. The thing's hopping around, making noises, and trying to alert Lotso, but it can't because the mic keeps on getting thrown away. And, ugh.
It is very, very scary. I'm like, Toy Story did a great job with making sure everything was just like amped up, and I've never felt so much apprehension about a group of toys trying to do anything. Like, none of the other Toy Stories were like, the stakes were not this high, where like if this doesn't work, then like you're gonna be stuck here forever type of thing. And yeah, very, very good storytelling, and the action was pretty fun too.
Meanwhile, Barbie's just having a fun time with Ken as well.
No, she's not. She's getting information out of Ken, right? Because they realize that Buzz is obviously in his reset mode, and so they need to figure out how to unreset Buzz. And so Barbie's main job is to make sure that they can reset Buzz, and so Barbie is basically torturing Ken by ripping all of his clothes very slowly.
Ooh, 1999 exclusive kimono, whatever. Okay, I'll tell you.
Okay, I'll tell you too. There's an instruction manual.
And of course, then we get the very hilarious scene of Barbie getting the Buzz Lightyear manual and walking away, and the bookworm looks, and he's just like, because she's got this whole Martian outfit or whatever on, or astronaut outfit, and she's in heels, and he's just like, whatever, it's Ken.
Don't ask.
And then they reset Buzz, and does Buzz go back to being normal Buzz?
If it weren't for my spirit toy Rex, Buzz would have gone back to normal. But the spirit toy Rex holds Buzz's button down for all 5 seconds, and I just love how I feel like I do that all the time. Like whether it's like trying to restore my phone or like do something with my computer or whatever, and I'm like reading an instruction guide, and I'm just like, hold down the keys. Okay, press and hold the keys. All right, those are held down. What's the next step? Oh, press and hold them for 5 seconds. Oops, it's been like 10 seconds. Oops.
You have rebooted the entire computer.
So
every save thing is gone.
Exactly.
No.
I know. It's like, and Rex's immediate reaction is, "It's not my fault. It's not my fault."
But then we get like basically Spanish soap opera Buzz of being very suave
Donde
and
está el Zorg?
being very touchy, or not touchy feely, but at least like, ooh, who is this cowgirl who is very attractive? Still like core Buzz basically of who is this girl that is very interesting, and what you would think after like so long they would at least have some relationship going on, but instead it's very much kind of like, does she like me? Does he like me? Like, it's very weird how 10 years doesn't change a toy too much, but apparently changes lots of within seconds.
Purpose. True. Yeah, Lotso. Yeah, definitely definitely kind of fun. All right, so what's next here?
So they're sneaking outside, right?
Yeah, I think they make it to the garbage, right?
They make it to the garbage with a very horror story-esque look at Big Baby on a swing, and then turning his head 180 degrees at the characters who are hiding behind one of the Sandlot barriers, and it's just like, ugh.
It's like,
stop it! You're creeping me out.
for you audio listeners, I was being as creepy as I could with my neck.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, they make it to the trash chute, and Woody makes it down to the end of the trash chute right before getting into the dumpster, and then all the toys are just like, is it clear to go? And he's like, yeah, just don't all come down at once. And the toys are like, did he say come all down at once? Okay.
No.
Thankfully, they don't go into the dumpster, but then who's greeting them on the other side then, Nick? Buster, right?
Well, I must say, not Buster. I must say, it's not much of a surprise to see you here. It's not something we were looking forward to doing, but you're just breaking my heart. We wanted you to enjoy this time here in Sunnyside, but you've just left us no choice. Ugh.
Nah.
Lotso was there. Lotso with his gang members. And they're sitting there. They got the Fisher Price guy, and that's how they figured it out, that there was an escape afoot.
The telephone.
It wasn't for the monkey. It wasn't for Baby or anything like that. It was the Fisher Price guy who sold him out. So that was kind of sad, but you gotta respect that.
Yeah, but then of course Woody pulls the Daisy card because he somehow grabbed the pin / medallion from Chuckles the clown. Basically says, hey, you were abandoned by your kid, that doesn't mean you get to be mean or whatever. And of course all of Lotso's lackeys are kind of like, whoa, like we didn't know this about Lotso. So they kind of start questioning his allegiance or whatever, and Lotso begins attacking Big Baby, basically just saying, hey, no, she abandoned us. Like, no.
Yeah, and he turns pretty evil. Like, he shows his most evil side. Like, up until this point, Lotso's been very good about being very smooth and, agreeable, even when he is being actually evil. He comes off as smooth and agreeable. But it comes out in this instance where he bursts out at Baby and breaks the little Daisy heart, and that's where Baby makes up his or her mind to
Baby snaps
to fight against Lotso. Yep, Big Baby snaps.
Yeah, throws Lotso into the dumpster, and then I believe closes the door, which allows the main characters to venture across the dumpster before the garbage truck gets there. And of course,
and it looks like we're about to have a very nice resolution. I was like, okay, Good, we're almost done. Oh wait, still 30 minutes of screen time. Well, what's going on here?
Yeah. So sadly, of course, one of the little aliens that we kind of skirt over a little bit, of course, in this whole entire movie. They're with all the toys that we know and love. One of them gets caught in the dumpster door somehow, and then Woody goes to help him out, and then, of course, Lotso grabs Woody, and then the garbage truck is there, and then all the toys go to try to save Woody. All the toys not being Lotso's friends, of course. And all the toys that we know and love end up going into the trash truck early in the morning off to the dump.
It's kind of all just happened within like 30 or 40 seconds, and it was just all like, whoa. went from everyone looking like they were going to get out just fine, and it all fell apart. So
not that easy.
That was a little sad. No, it wasn't going to be that easy. But
so then they make it to the dump and go through the hellscape of what the dump is, of filtering out all the metal from the garbage and all the plastic and shredding everything. And oh, geez Louise.
Yep, there's a reason why dumpster's still my nightmare place. If I had to have a nightmare place, it would be a dump. Late at night, trash trucks driving by. The little alien guys, like they focused in on the little alien guys, and they're trying to get to the alien, Mr. Potato Head, Mrs. Potato Head, and the alien guys just get swooped up by this bulldozer driving by at full speed, and then you turn around, there's one coming at you, and it's just like, so disorienting with so many mountains of garbage, and
you get thrown everywhere, and then they're going through this metal sorter where it's basically taking the metal to a magnet or whatever, and then there's this shredder that's trying to shred the toys, and of course Lotso's caught underneath something, and Woody, being the nice guy, instead of staying up on the because all the toys basically grab a magnetic thing to avoid the shredder, Woody's like, nah, I gotta save that toy, saves Lotso from the shredder, only for Rex to think that daylight is coming on the horizon, and it's not daylight, it's a really really large furnace.
I love that moment. The music is who did the music for this? Can you look that up here? But whoever did the music was just did a phenomenal job, because there's a couple points during the movie where, like, between the building of the music and what the characters were saying, I was getting excited that, like, we just passed the climax. Like, especially after the Lotso thing over the dumpster, like, the music was going in a direction that was like, okay, we passed it. And then after, as I think Rex was like, I can see daylight, and everyone's like, yay, and the music was like, da da, yay.
Randy Newman is the one who scored a lot of the music in here.
Randy Newman did this. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I do like Randy Newman. He's a good composer. Not Randy Vasquez. Far superior. Randy Vasquez is far superior to Randy Newman, but Randy Newman has done more Pixar movies, so we got to give him credit. Yeah. So great job with the score, but now is kind of at the actual climax town. We are at the point in the movie where the characters are all going to die for final. They're running away. This conveyor belt, basically, like, just like Soul. Have you seen the Pixar Soul movie? Yep. Just like there's the conveyor belt to the great beyond. It's the conveyor belt to the great beyond for the toys. All the toys are running against the conveyor belt, trying to escape their impending doom. And Lotso is in a position to help everyone out by pushing the emergency stop button. And he decides not to, even after all of the toys Buzz and Woody specifically risked their lives to save Lotso.
So long, cowboy.
Lotso decides to be exactly. So that was the moment where, like, Lotso had a chance to redeem himself, and he didn't, which justifies the bad thing that is about to happen to Lotso.
Yeah. So what happens to the toys then? Do they also escape on this ladder?
So the toys
with Lotso?
fall into the pit. No, I really wish they did. They fell into the pit of doom. And the garbage is just slowly sliding down towards this big flame, and all the toys are trying to scoot up the hill and trying to struggle away. And I think Buzz was the first to realize this is all futile, and he holds Jesse's hand. Oh. And actually, it's somewhere in the garbage truck, they reset Buzz. They got rid of Spanish Buzz. I think.
That's right. Yeah, Spanish Buzz becomes normal.
We're back to normal Buzz.
That's right,
we're back to
because
normal
at one
Buzz, but
point
he has no recollection of Spanish Buzz.
Jesse's about to get crushed again by garbage because she was already crushed once by the folding of the garbage in the truck or whatever. And he's like, "Donde está? Donde está?" Like, where is she?
Donde está? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways,
so then all of the toys link arms, and it's a solid like minute of all the toys just looking at each other with the most sad and beautiful music ever. And you realize they're all just accepting their impending doom, and they're just so satisfied with where they were, that they're all together, A, and B, that they fulfilled their purpose of letting Andy grow up, and they look sad, terrified, but yet still fulfilled. And it's just very nice to watch that. And if you were I don't know, we'll break the fourth wall here. Mike, have you seen that YouTube video where the mean kids stop the movie right there and they tell their mom that that's the end of the movie?
So what they did is they took the whole thing. I was going to mention this as well. They took all of Toy Story 3, but then they cut it right where the toys they're about to be saved, in which we'll get to how they're saved. They cut it basically right before they get saved, make it fade into black, and then they put in the credits for Toy Story 3. And their poor mother is just like, "That's the ending? This is horrible." The kids are laughing or whatever. I thought it was pretty hilarious, but I would never subject my mom to it because this was something that we enjoyed together. I'm like, no, I would never wrench my mom's heart like that. She's, that was pretty funny though.
But every time I watch it, like I'm like, oh, this is the perfect time to just end it. Like now that I've seen that movie, like if they did it, I'd be like, yep, this is the place to do it. Just cut the film.
Very grim ending.
Are they rescued by Buzz Lightyear using his jetpack and raising the train full of? No, he's not rescued. They're not rescued by Buzz.
No, sadly, no.
Are they rescued by Bonnie, who runs into the furnace and saves them?
I mean, Bonnie is left alone so many times in this movie that I wouldn't doubt that she would somehow find him. Like, there's so many times that like her mom's just like, "Bonnie, where are you? Oh, you're on the playground. Okay, Bonnie, where are you?
True.
Oh,
Bonnie,
you're supposed to get in the car. Bonnie, where are you?" Just like keep track of your kid. But no, it was not Bonnie. It was the wonderful aliens who we met in Toy Story 1.
Yay!
Who were saved saved somehow by Sid, I guess. Somehow we're not really saved, more of subjected to Sid, but we're ultimately saved by Mr. Potato Head, and now they
finally have a purpose.
They finally have a purpose. They get to use what they've idolized their whole life, the claw.
The claw. So out of nowhere, it's all orange flame lighting, and then we get this big white bright light from right behind all the characters, and this claw comes down, drops down, scoops up our heroes, and drops them up on the surface, all unharmed, and it's beautiful.
I want to see a Pixar short of how those aliens got to that control booth. Like, they somehow were just like, "Wow, we just got bulldozed. Let's run into the facility to find our friends. Oh, look, a control booth. Oh, look, our friends. Let's save them."
Could you imagine if our toys held on to the pieces of metal and went to the metal incinerator instead of the trash incinerator?
No.
They would have died because the aliens wouldn't have been there to save them.
Again, we need more context on what these aliens saw because, man. Ugh. Anyways, yeah, so they're saved. Potato Head is finally eternally grateful for once towards the aliens.
Yes.
It's not the aliens who are eternally grateful to him now. Yeah, that was pretty funny. I laughed at that. And I don't know if you caught this, but they're kind of like doing a zoom out shot or kind of panning shot because the toys are trying to get to the road to get out of this dump. And the terrain is very much like Toy Story 1 and 2 with like the dirt. It's very much just like very low polygon repeated, just like, I don't know. They didn't put too much attention to detail on the dump site dirt, but it reminded me of...
Do you think that was on purpose?
I don't think so, but it definitely gave me vibes of Toy Story 1 and 2 of just like, it's an animated movie, and you can only put so much detail into so many things, so it makes sense that the ground right here is not of particular interest. These toys almost got incinerated, so you're more fixating on the toys. You're like, how are they going to get out? How are they going to get out of here? and the ground is not something you're paying attention to. But me being me, I'm looking at the ground like, look, that pebble's not real. Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
But who comes to the rescue to bring him back?
Well, we made a joke about Bonnie just a second ago, but actually it's Sid who saves the day. Sid is the hero of the entire Toy Story universe, because if it were not for Sid being in this time and place right now, we never would have known.
I just love that
Sid
he's like banging against like the garbage truck, like he's listening to some rock music the whole time, oblivious to everything. Like he's been subjected to the horrors of toys coming to get him, and now he's just like, hey, I'm just listening to music, banging on my garbage truck, like nothing could be better. I was not scarred as a child. Oh, goodness. But yeah, so they get him home, but it's not the home that we think. It's not Bonnie's house. It's the one and only
it's
Andy's house.
Andy's house. So this is probably one of the funnier parts, which obviously had to happen because all these toys have been literally through toy hell of Sunnyside and then through the dump and almost incinerated. So they're all like grummy and grimy and dirty. And they have like a 5-second throwaway clip where they're like hosing each other off with water. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. that doesn't begin to get the paint out of what's-her-face's hair or the scuff marks off of Buzz's plastic thingy.
His helmet.
Yeah. Okay, so we're past Climax Town. We're now in my favorite part of this movie.
The heartbreak of everything.
This part and forward is where I lose it. I'm pretty fine the whole movie up until this point, but every stinking time I watch Toy Story 3, at this point I lose it, and I just let myself lose it because it's so satisfying when you just let yourself cry it out and just enjoy the emotional ride. So I don't cry to many movies. I very rarely cry to movies. I think I can count on both of my hands the number of movies I've ever cried to in my life. Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4 are both on that list of movies I've cried to.
That's not good news, Nick. That's not good news for me.
You haven't seen Toy Story 4, so you're in for a treat.
Oh.
The reason why I cry is because it's about saying goodbye and growing up. And that is something that everyone has to deal with. So it's a universally relatable topic, but it's also universally intimate. Everyone has intimate memories of their favorite toy and having to grow up and maybe not play with it anymore because their friends think it's stupid or whatever. And you just have all these memories built up of growing up. And any age can really appreciate this. Even if you're like 12, you can still appreciate this and look back at the toys you played with when you were 4 or 5 and how you moved on from those toys and now you're playing with different toys. Like, and as an adult, I play with very expensive toys. And I have to say goodbye to them too every once in a while and let them move on. So it's doubly sad. And so that's why I cry. Let's go through this shot by shot, just like we have with everything else.
Jeez. So yeah, Andy finds them back at the house, and he's like, "Oh, look, they're back again." Like every single Toy Story movie, like, "Oh, look, you're back." Like,
"Oh, look, you're back. How did you get here?" No questions.
Come on, Andy.
No questions at all.
You haven't asked this question for how many years now? Like 19 years or something like that. Okay, whatever. But yeah, and so then or I guess, Woody comes up with the idea because, of course, Andy still wants to take Woody to college for some reason, which is, again, one of the funniest things I think of because you and I have both been through college, Nick, and it's like, did you bring your little, maybe a little tiny action figure, I guess, but like this really big doll, because Woody's pretty big. Like, did you bring a giant doll with you to college? I don't think so.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, there goes my whole my point. But whatever. Anyway,
his name was Charlie.
Oh,
let him.
Goodness.
Let him
I didn't ask about
space.
details. I don't want to know.
Yeah. You don't want to know? Come on, you're gonna cry just like I did.
I don't want to know. Don't subject me to this, Nick. I'm trying to hold back the tears. But yeah, Woody basically writes a note on top of the box that all the toys snuck into in Andy's room before Andy and his mom come up to the room to say one final goodbye to Andy being in his room. And basically, they don't show what's on the note, but it's pretty clear that it says, take it to this address.
And it's because Woody said goodbye to his friends and realized that while going to college would be the faithful thing to do, he realized that Woody the toy, is ready to say goodbye to Andy. But Woody didn't think that Andy was yet ready to say goodbye to him, which he wasn't, because Andy was planning on taking him to college. And so Woody decided to directly interact with and directly change what a human was going to do, which I don't think there are many times in the Toy Story universe where a toy so intently changes what a human is going to do. And Woody decides he wants to go with his friends, but not to the attic, right? And so he knows that Bonnie is ready for toys, and Bonnie's of the age where she'll love and take care of them, and he knows that Bonnie is a good home. And so, yeah, Woody kind of breaks the fourth wall almost, and like he was moving just right behind their backs, like they weren't even in another room, like they just all had their back to him, and he was there scribbling on the notepad. So pretty close call there as far as breaking those rules. But
so then Andy picks up the box, sees the note, he's like, so donation? And his mom's like, yep, it'd be good. And so then he drives in his little compact car to Bonnie's house, which apparently my wife pointed this out to me, like, where does Bonnie's house, like, where is it located? Because it's located at the end of a street, which you think, okay, it's at the end of a cul-de-sac, but then there's like this other passing street that Andy comes on, so it's like they're at the end of this T intersection where it's not complete plus
again
sign.
Physics are not Pixar's friends.
Well, just like geography in this case, what are we looking at? But so Andy gets out of the car, says, or I guess just stands there staring at Bonnie playing, marveling at...
Yeah, kind of creepy.
Yeah, and then Bonnie's like, Mom. And she's like, oh, Andy, right? And he's like, yeah, how's it going? She's like, oh, what are you doing here? I thought you were going to college. And he's like, I am. I just wanted to drop off some toys. Which, very, very kind of him and very kind of Woody as well. And this is where the tears start because, of course, Andy is like, okay, here, I'm going to show you all the toys. These are the aliens from Pizza Planet. And here's Jesse, and he
gives every toy the introduction that they deserve.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to summarize. I'm getting emotional right now. I'm not messing around.
Buzz Lightyear, the coolest toy ever.
He can fly and has a laser, and he hypes up these toys just like he would have when he was like 6, and it's just so much fun to watch. And then what really gets me going is the soundtrack and the fact that he plays with them one last time.
Well, yeah, but you're missing the fact that Bonnie is like, well, hold on, is there any more toys? And she looks in the box, and there's Woody at the bottom. And Andy's like, oh, and he picks Woody up, and Bonnie's like, oh, cowboy. And Andy reluctantly pulls away with Woody, like, yeah, no, like, this is mine.
No, I want you.
But then he realizes, I can't hold on to him forever. I mean, he could have for his kids, I guess, but oh my goodness. And so then he has to describe Woody in the most glorifying way. He's loyal and kind and always does good.
And it looks like he's just talking to him, and it's just... he's saying thank you for his childhood. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
And then they play one last time, and all of the toys get played with, and they all look so happy.
Oh, and then dude, it's time for Andy to go. It's time for Andy to go. He has to go to college, and so he leaves, and we get the shot of Woody on the steps with Bonnie and all the other toys, and Woody basically watching his boy go away, saying the most heart-wrenching words.
Infinity. Go ahead.
No, it was so long, partner.
Partner.
Oh, I mean, This is pretty tough. I mean,
can't take this.
The only other time I remember crying this much in a movie was in 2019 with saying goodbye to Tony Stark, which we'll probably get to at some point. We'll probably dip into Marvel. Gruesome scene as well, but this is just tearing at your heart as well. I mean, my mom and I, when watching this, she was bawling her eyes out, and I was fighting the tears as much as possible in 2011 or 2010 when we were watching it. It was tough. It was really tough, but so much satisfaction.
So sad and perfect.
With the clouds in the sky as well, because they pull away.
And it pans up to the Toy Story clouds. Oh my gosh, it's perfect.
And then they made a fourth one.
Couldn't be more perfect. And then they made a fourth one.
Which I was so surprised by.
By the way, if you think I went into the fourth one, and I'm going to say this for you because you haven't seen it. I went into the fourth one thinking it was going to be terrible because Toy Story 3 had the perfect ending. Don Lasseter found a way. I know. I was like, it's just a cash grab. But Toy Story 4 has a better goodbye scene than Toy Story 3.
Stop it. No.
Yep.
I can't handle it.
Yep.
I could barely handle Endgame and Toy Story 3.
I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to watch Toy Story 4 tonight. I know we'll review it in a couple weeks, but not on the high of Toy Story 3, I'm going to watch Toy Story 4. I don't normally watch 2 movies in a day. But
I don't know. Did you watch this on Disney Plus or on DVD?
I did.
Okay. Did you watch the end credits for Toy Story 3?
I did not. I was kind of pressed for time. I had to hop on a Zoom call, and so I was actually kind of...
Gotcha. I guess I'll highlight a few of the scenes.
Shout out to the people who were on the Zoom call because I was finishing up the movie while I was starting the Zoom call, and so it was kind of at the trash scene when I was trying to hop onto the Zoom call, and I was like, I can make it through this. I had an AirPod in. I was just like finishing up the movie, and it wasn't a call I had to really participate in. I was just watching, and I'm like, no, kind of at the point where Andy was saying goodbye to his mom, like. No, I'm not going to be able to... I need to cry. I need to let this out. So I turned off my video and my audio, and I just let it out during a Zoom call. So
anyways,
sorry to those people in that Zoom call.
I wanted to highlight some of the end credit scenes because, like Toy Story 2, they also do a lot of end credit scenes. They have a shot of Zurg going to Sunnyside. It's probably not the same Zurg from Toy Story 2. It's another Zurg, but it's Zurg and some dino buddies, and we get the scene of... Sunnyside is not the same place anymore. It's being run by Barbie and Ken. They keep it pretty groovy now. There's a little beach party out in the sandbox, which has hopefully been cleaned from the Lincoln Logs, and there's a little Pixar ball being thrown around.
They got rid of the logs.
Yeah, we got the army men who come in because we didn't highlight them, but they left Andy's room quickly because they're like, we're the first ones to go in the trash. They somehow land after like 2 or 3 days in the air. Again, a side story on these army men would be very appreciated. We get Trixie and Rex basically being a match made in toy heaven or whatever of playing some video games, and Rex is like, hold on, I can't reach this button. Trixie's like, it's okay, I got it. It's like,
I got it. And they're like being a team, like, Rex and Trixie sitting on a tree.
And then we get Buzz somehow still having his inner Spanish side because Jesse starts playing some Spanish music and he starts randomly dancing. He's like, I don't know what's going on, but okay. Which is a great way to end it as well because every single movie has kind of ended with You Got a Friend in Me. And with Toy Story 3, they didn't really end it that way necessarily in the whole movie. They ended it with just a pan up to the clouds and some nice, beautiful light music on the piano, I believe, and it was just fantastic. But with the end credits scene, they end with "You Got a Friend in Me," but it's not the classic one. It's in Spanish, which I thought was a very nice change of pace because there's a lot more diversity in this movie as well. And they highlight, of course, that Buzz also has a Spanish mode, which I find kind of funny because he's got this whole subroutine inside this toy to speak Spanish, and he was made in like 1995 or something like that, and he's got this whole setup, which I thought was pretty entertaining. But yeah, they end
international toy
because he's the coolest toy. Because kind of like how Stinky Pete highlighted is that the westerns went down and the space went up because of Sputnik and everything else.
Yep.
Anyways, great movie. I enjoyed it. hit me in the feels, of course, just like you, Nick, and definitely I envy you in the fact that you know what's coming in Toy Story 4, but I'm in the blind. I haven't seen anything.
Envy you. I envy you, Mike. You get to enjoy this. I want you to sit there with a thing of popcorn with your mom in a dark room, no distractions, no phone. I don't want you to take notes, okay? I know you normally take notes. I want you to enjoy Toy Story 4 without notes, okay?
I'll try.
This is a challenge. If you want me to, I will make the notes for you. But
you can make the notes then, because
we need you to enjoy this. This is such a treat for you. And I just looked at the runtime of Toy Story 3. It's an hour and 43 minutes, including the credits. So at this point, we're about an hour and 39 minutes into our show, which means that if we talk for about another 3 or 4 minutes, then we will officially be longer than the movie that we're reviewing, which is pretty typical.
Yeah, we need to work on that a little bit. Anyways.
No, we don't.
Okay, well, that's fine. Great movie.
It's too sad, okay? I can't fit all my thoughts into a smaller...
I'll bake you some cookies or something, Nick.
I actually need some Thin Mints. Do you have any Thin Mints?
I have a few. The Girl Scouts are making their rounds again, and we ordered a whole bunch. And please order your Thin Mints and all the other cookies. Please support your local Girl Scout cookie? Your local Girl Scout clubs and teams. Scouts? Your local scouts? Yeah. Support them. Scouts. They definitely need the support during this time. Anyways, any final thoughts, Nick?
This is Toy Story 3 is one of the nearest and dearest movies to my heart. Definitely top 10, probably top 5 as far as most nostalgia filled, most like good feeling, most like want to rewatch it. So much so that I'm going to go rewatch Toy Story 4 tonight just because I want to enjoy it. And it just fills my heart with happiness. Even though it's sad and getting to watch Andy grow up and the toys move on, it's John Lasseter and the whole writing team did an amazing job putting all this together. And animation, always on point. Pixar,
a lot more detail. We didn't highlight that. There was so much more detail in this because it's 2010 versus 2001 totally. Or something.
1999 to 2010. Like, it's 11 years difference. And going from 2010 to 2019, you will also see a huge bump. It's like that level of magnitude better. Again, it's
probably
amazing.
A lot more glow and everything.
So, let's just say Bo Peep looks amazing in Toy Story 4. Her absolutely phenomenal.
She was polished or something.
So,
she got the same
not just
treatment as Woody did in Toy Story 2 with the cleaner guy.
Yes, pretty much. Yep, but like 20 years newer animation style. Yeah. I don't have any more closing thoughts. I really appreciate you doing this with me, Mike. This is so much fun to find an excuse every week to watch a movie and just enjoy the heck out of it and have so much fun talking about and reliving childhood memories. Yeah. Any closing thoughts, or why don't you just close this out, Mike?
I'll just close this out, I guess. Again, like Nick could have put it better. Fantastic movie. Hits everything on the mark. Even if you didn't grow up with Toy Story as a kid, it's a fantastic way to. I'd say if they didn't make a Toy Story 4, fantastic way to wrap up the series. It was so much satisfaction in the end, even though it was so sad as well. It was a happy cry. But yeah, otherwise, I'm really looking forward to watching Toy Story 4. If you have any other movies that you want us to review, you can kind of tell that the next movie that we're going to be reviewing soon, we will return for next week. Definitely not. Definitely not trying to miss the mark again. But yeah, if you have any movies that you want to watch, I know that a couple of my friends who have caught the podcast now have recommended a few movies that we'll probably get to eventually. Some horror, some sci-fi. If you have a favorite genre, please put it in the comments below. If you're watching on YouTube or leave a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Just let us know what you want to hear and what you want to watch, and we'd be more than happy to check it out and give our thoughts. Anyways, I've been Mike, and you've been Nick.
I've been Nick.
And this has been the Talos of Movie Review. Thank you for donating an hour and almost 43 minutes or whatever.
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
We're officially, congratulations. We're officially over the runtime of Toy Story 3. We did it. We did it. By 1 minute.
Let's not do the same with Star Wars, but have a great week, everyone. Have a good morning or evening, and take care.